Hello, my name is Hannah Hudson. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm an instructor in the front-end program at Turing. And today we're going to talk a little bit about objects, specifically objects in JavaScript. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new REPL for us to work in. All right, go ahead and get that set up, and we're going to start in our script.js file here. All right, so what is an object? An object is a complex data type in JavaScript, and we typically create objects by, of course, setting them to a variable. And I'm going to go ahead and create an object for, let's say, a school. Okay, and to create what we call an object literal, we start by opening up some of these curly brackets here. All right, so inside my object that I have just created, I can store what's called key value pairs. So my key here, going to call this name, and I'm going to separate by a colon here and give it a value of Turing School of Software and Design. All right, so we can see that I have created a variable called school. I have assigned it to a set of those curly brackets, and inside of those I've stored what we call a key value pair. Now the cool thing about objects is we can store lots of data inside them. So I can separate out some of my key value pairs with a comma and provide some more information. Maybe I want to give a location to my school. So I'm going to type out a key of location with a value being Denver, Colorado. And I'll just capitalize that here. All right, so you can kind of see that the difference here between something like an object versus maybe a string or a number, one of the more simple data types, is we can store a collection of information. We can store multiple values inside of an object while still having it set to that one single variable of school. So I'm going to go ahead and console log my school here so we can see all of that information that I have set up. All right, cool. So that looks exactly how we expect. We've got our name and we have our location. Awesome. So what if later down the line we want to maybe add some more data to our school object, another set of key value pairs? Well, what I can do is I'm going to use something called dot notation to set up a new key for my school object. So what I want to do is go ahead and type out the name of that object, which we have set to school, use a little dot here, and decide what information I want to add to my object. Let's see. I think what I want to add is maybe curriculums. All right, so this is really whatever I'd like to name it. I can choose the name of my key, and I'm going to name it curriculums. And an important piece here is we need to go ahead and set our key equal to some sort of value. Now this can be whatever we want. I'm actually going to go ahead and set it to an array. All of our other ones are strings, but we can actually use any data type here. So I know that Turing has a front end and a back end program. All right, so this time when I am console.logging my school, I should hopefully see a new key value pair inside there. So let's go ahead and run that and see what happens. Awesome. So on top of our name and our location, we also have this new piece of data, curriculums, with an array inside of it. So I can keep using dot notation here to create more and more key value pairs, making sure that I have supplied my key and my value of whatever I choose. We can also add data a different way. We can use something called bracket notation. So let me think of some more information to add here. Let's see, how about school.instructors? Okay. And this time, I would like to maybe set it equal to a number. I'm going to make this number up. So we'll go with about 25. All right, let's make sure that this is still working. We're still kind of adding on to this object we've created. Okay, perfect. We've still got all of that information. Instead of using my dot here, I'm going to make a small change and actually put this in brackets and add some quotes around there. And get rid of my dot as well. All right, so this looks a little bit different, but let's go ahead and make sure that this is still working. Perfect. I'm still seeing the same thing. My instructor's key has the value of 25. Perfect. So nothing has really changed in our code, but you can see that this looks slightly different, right? Here I'm deciding to use dot curriculums, and over here I'm deciding to use some brackets with a string. So these are both valid ways to add data to an object. You'll typically see this dot notation more, kind of a convention thing, but both work. All right, awesome. So I have added some data. What if I just want to access it? Maybe I just want to pull out a specific piece of information. So down here in my console log, you can see that I'm just console logging that entire school object, but maybe I just care about location. I can use dot notation here, just like before. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and search for that location. I expect to see Denver, Colorado console logged for me here. Perfect. So I'm able to leverage dot notation to both add data and access data. And I should be able to do that with the bracket notation as well. All right, so there's one more thing that I want to show you about objects, and that is using a variable to change some information. So I'm gonna just comment this out and show you a new example. All right, I'm going to set up another object here, but this one is going to be called forecast. All right, go ahead and open up my curly brackets there. And I want to start off with a couple different key value pairs of a weather forecast. All right, cool. So I'm going to set Monday to be sunny. Tuesday, I don't know, maybe cloudy, sure. And I'll just maybe throw one more in there for good measure. Let's hope that Wednesday is sunny as well. All right, so I have my object, or we say an object literal, called forecast with some data inside. All right, so when I console.log my forecast, I should have all of that good information about what the weather is going to look like for the first half of the week at least. There's something else that I can do if I want to make this be a little bit more dynamic. So I'm going to create another variable, and I'm going to name it today, all right? So today actually is Monday for me, so I'm going to set today equal to a string of Monday, all right? And what I'm going to do next is actually use this variable to see what my forecast is going to be for Monday. All right, so what I want to do is start with my object. And for this example, I'm going to leverage my bracket notation. So I'm going to open up my brackets and pop in that new variable I created called today. Okay, so looking at this, we are starting with our forecast object. And we've opened up some brackets and threw in this today variable. All right, so watch what happens when I go ahead and run this. All right, so we've gotten sunny. All right, so backtracking a little bit, what happened here is we have our object, our forecast object, and we have this variable set for today, which actually equates to the string of Monday. So popping in this Monday for this today variable, what JavaScript is doing is actually turning this into our string and using that information to pull out this sunny here. So you'll also notice in this example my bracket notation does not have strings. This is kind of the key that tells JavaScript we're looking for a variable, not for something that is explicitly defined on our object. You'll notice that I have no key of today, but I do have a key of Monday, which today represents. So if we actually go ahead and change our today variable to maybe be Tuesday, I want to see what my forecast will be like for tomorrow. All right, I'll pass in Tuesday here. And when I run it, this time I should see cloudy. This is a good way that we can make our code just a little bit more dynamic and not have to rely on those specific keys. We can use a variable and be able to represent that value. All right, so that was a quick introduction to objects, how you can add data and access data using dot and bracket notation. Thanks.